And hello everyone and welcome back to Nerdy Miniatures, where in today's video we'll be showing you how I painted the main hero for my Chaos Legionnaires Warcry Warband, as well as a quick recap on how I painted the signature lava bases, which we've been doing on our channel. If that sounds like something you would be into, then just keep watching. It's been a while since I last did a video. Mrs. Nerd has taken it upon herself to take the reins of the channel. Between me and Mrs. Nerd, we've split between ourselves. She's been doing all the painting, I've been doing all the building. So we now have a mountain of plastic shame. So now I get to do some painting. So before we dive into the painting, here's a quick intro on who are the Chaos Legionnaires. So these are elite disciplined warriors who fight under the banner of the Dark Gods, but with a little twist. They're meant to be sworn to Be'lakor, who is the first prince. They follow the mysterious Dark Creed, using every victory to sow confusion, spark rebellion, and bring their Dark Master one step closer to ascension. In the Warcry tabletop, they are powerful melee fighters, and I was quite excited to finally paint them, as this is my first full project when it comes to my Warhammer hobby. When it comes to the hero of the group, I made a small customization. So originally I had a smaller circular grey shield, but I swapped this out for a great shield, which I had spare for my Chaos Warriors, which I have in my spearhead set. Honestly, it looks cooler, makes him stand out, and it was actually really fun to paint. So let's get around to the painting of the models. So first we had to prime the models. We used grey cere for all of these models. Each of these models I went through the same process. So I first started with the fabric, because this was always the hardest location to reach on the model. Firstly, I applied a rust grey to the fabric. It is a layer paint, but I decided to skip a base layer. So I wanted the underlying grey cere to kind of blend through with the rust grey. Gives it a nice deep effect, which you'll see more when we apply our next colour onto the fabric. However, after drying, I then moved straight on to using Eshin grey, which is another layer paint. This works with the grey cere and the rust grey to kind of give it a deep look. You've got some rust grey and some of the grey cere bleeding through the Eshin grey. It's quite a cool little effect. So now we're going to rapidly fire through the rest of the colours. So we then moved on to the base coat for the bones and spikes. We used Xandri dust for this one. For the skin, I decided to just use a couple layers of Cadian flesh. I'm still experimenting with skin. It's the very first model where I've had to paint a face of some sort. So I put a couple layers of Cadian flesh tone. Doesn't look that great, but it's a start. For all the metal parts, this being the chainmail and the weaponry, I used the lead belcher. But make sure you thin your paints. Always thin your paints, especially with on the chainmail. You don't want to clog the chainmail holes up with excess paint. I don't always thin the paint enough, and I always end up having to wipe away any excess. Moving on to the tunic, I used corn red for its base colour. A little word of advice if you're doing this model or any of these Chaos Legionnaires, to avoid the leather straps, belt and pauldrons while you're doing the corn red, because it will take a bit of work to cover over it. I did this a fair few times. Whoops. And now moving on to the leather parts of the model, these being the belt, hilt, boots and the tunic straps. I used Morn Fang Brown. And then the final parts of the models was the gold metallic elements, that being the metal trim, pauldrons and trinkets. These all got a coat of Retributor armour, but you can use any bright gold of your choice, to be quite honest. So now to applying the shade and contrast to the model, and this is where the magic happens. By applying these paints over the top of what you've already done, it will add a bit of wear and tear along with a little bit of dimensional detail that we could not get any other way. This is what I applied and where. So for all the bone elements I used a shade of Skeleton Horde. For the tunic I applied a Vulpus Pink for a little bit more richness. For the gold elements I added a layer of Reichland Flesh Shade, just to give it a little more warmth. And for everything else excluding the gold elements, I applied a good coat of Nuln Oil, because when in doubt, apply some Nuln Oil. So look, now moving on to the lava base. We do have a full video tutorial, which the link of that will be in the description down below, but I'll give a quick recap. So first, you want to cover the entire base with a Mephisto red. While this is still wet, and this is the trick, while these paints are wet, you want to add a couple streaks of Troll Slayer orange, and then a couple streaks of Flash Gets yellow. You can add more yellow depending on how hot you want to make the lava look. If you want to make it look really hot, you want to add some white in there. I didn't do this in my base. Once all these are dry, you then want to paint the rim with the Abaddon black. And then the final step is to create the obsidian look. And this is just done by the technical paint of Modern Earth. You leave this all over the lava at the bottom. And once the Modern Earth starts to dry, it will crack. Really cool technical paint. This will reveal the molten lava beneath. And that's it. that's how we made my first warband. And so final thoughts as we close out. This is the first warband I've fully painted. These are the first set of models I've fully painted, and I'm quite happy with how they turned out. I've only ever painted one other model before this, and it's half of my Carnosaur Seraphon, and he is still half painted. So we'll be coming back to that sometime soon. But I really enjoyed painting these. There were a few details I missed on these models, notably the faces and the flesh. I just avoided painting them, to be quite honest, and I did skip the metal fasteners and the tunic studs because I just don't have the level of precision I need to do this. Whether I need better brushes, whether I need to stop my hands from shaking, I don't know. But progress is progress, and we will get there. So let me know on your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you have any particular tips, especially for faces or leather, I'd love to hear them because I just went for the basic look here. And as we wind down, you'll see down in the description a few links today. The first one is to the tutorial of the lava bases. The second link is to my own channel. So if you like stuff like MMOs, some action RPGs, I'd sometimes stream, feel free to have a look over there, and that is Rothmer Gaming. Then finally I have Mrs. Nerd's channel where she covers topics like Tolkien, Game of Thrones, Warhammer, and this is all lore related, so it's pretty cool. If you want to learn more about the Warhammer lore, have a look over there. So that'll be it from me, and we hope to see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful day, wherever you are in the world, and as per usual, peace out.